Are they talking about selling your own home, or are you talking about fucking...
Even if you're a master of poker, playing poker is gambling, same with stocks.
In certain places, I'm pretty sure in order to purchase a house, you have to have a real estate agent.
3 meses contigo ajan tequiero.
No, you don't. Buying and selling on your own is legal. People do sell by owner. The person buying the property doesn't use a real estate agent. You were talking about a broker, not an agent. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm scammed, boys. Who knows? I'm not talking about like whether that's a right thing or wrong thing, by the way. I'm just saying that that's what I thought was the case. Maybe I'm wrong.
Pepe la.
Buying a house without an agent in California is doable.
You're telling me a gator did this investing? Get it investing.
The answer is no. You are not required to work with an agent. There's no law that says that California home buyers must be represented by a real estate professional during a purchase transaction. In fact, many people choose to buy a house on their own without an agent, and for a variety of reasons. But there are some significant advantages. Wait, really? I fucking did not know that, dude. That's crazy.
Ajan? If I sent you toilet paper with T. Trump's face on it,
Okay, I've been scammed, boys.
Got it for Christmas 5 years ago and have not used it. Maybe you would, unless you are a no.
I literally thought it was a law. I'm legitimately confused. There has to be a signing agent involved, but like sellers can operate as the agent itself if they want to. Trading, I mean, I didn't ask legally whether I need a real estate agent or not. That's not the reason why I have her. No, my agent did not tell me that. Stop.
Stock was banned, feels weird, man.
My agent did not tell me that. I just didn't even assume otherwise. And also, it doesn't matter. The agent does do a lot of fucking paperwork, so ultimately I don't mind it. And shows me houses, all this other shit. Like, I mean, here, you can read this article, but the article is true. Like, I don't mind having an agent. I would never have the time to be able to do it on my own. I don't mind copium. Dude, you guys are so insane. I stream fucking 8 to 10 hours every day. Why? How the fuck? When would I literally look through contracts and like put paperwork together, let alone like have these motherfuckers treat me with like respect and legitimacy? Because these seller agents, if you're going as like an individual buyer, the people that are selling the houses, they're gonna treat you like fucking dirt. They treat you like dirt if you don't even have a good agent. So like, you're crazy if you think that like it's that easy to just like go buy a fucking house on your own in Los Angeles too. Doesn't think anyone else has full-time jobs? Yeah, except in a full-time job, you're not literally working 10 fucking hours a day nonstop. And also on top of that, you don't work 7 days a fucking week. Some people are. I know some people are. Oh my God, half the people fucking throwing up question marks are literally watching me stream. Like, they're watching me stream at work. I mean, it's a Sunday, so not really. But, like,
shout out to the
I love these same people who, like, sit in their fucking cubicles if they are finally going back to work, or sitting at home, working from home, making it seem like literally watching me during their work hours, acting like, oh, dude, you're crazy. I am actually working nonstop, like 8 to 10 hours uninterrupted a day. Motherfucker, I can't take a pee break without 1,000 people being like, where'd you go, Puggo? Why are you peeing, Puggo? The difference is I set my own hours. I choose to do this. And I don't have to. But I do it because I want to. So I'm in a significantly better position. But, you know, don't forget that.
Ever heard of someone like representing themselves in court and everyone being like, that is a great plan? Right, and that's a good example. I statistically, would I represent myself in court? No. But do I have the option to? Yes.
But like you have the option.
That's what
you
I
have
want.
the option to be in these systems. Like we're not saying that that's not true. But like there is things that come with being licensed and being a professional in a space.
Shorting stocks is a legitimate and fair practice.
Guys, look at us.
I'm just
Being
taking
pals.
it.
Anything to say?
Well,
I was trying to think of an example where it would be considered not
Right.
a fair practice.
It's no different than going out into nature and watching something that's sick and dying get eaten by lions. Like, that's just part of the process.
But I think naked short selling was has been restricted since like 2014 or something. Like, so that's kind of out of the market.
like if you're gonna call it naked shorts, I think you have to call it a lot of other like Wall Street practices. And I think a lot of these things are like
Good, yes.
like
Yes, let's do
like,
that.
as you should be doing.
absolutely not
Like as you should be doing, but like I think to be like it's just naked shorts. We've identified like the issue, and it's
Like,
like
that's the hard
like
point. that
I
it's a-
would
yeah.
like let's not.
A lot of the outrage was generated by this feeling that predatory short sellers were trying to put GameStop out of business prior to the time when it would naturally die. When predatory short sellers engage in naked short selling to put a company out of business, there's nothing natural like a lion killing a deer about that. That is.
But they're not going after companies like Amazon.
Right, like-
they're going
Like,
after companies that clearly the fundamentals are looking a little shaky.
GameStop is a
GameStop
brick
is-
and mortar retail video game seller.
People on Reddit see the future of GameStop very much as a new company, as a company with a new vision that
Why?
will be modeled after Chewy and will be more internet-based and less brick and mortar-based.
Right, but like why? I just don't think that many people have enough understanding even to be like doing this remotely responsibly.
What is good?
The damage done to hedge funds by Wall Street bets was deserved.
Vampire Masquerade? Wait. Where is Vampire Masquerade? Send me the link right now, dude. What the fuck? Hold on, I'm missing something right now.
I've been subbed for as long I haven't been having sex.
Is it the PC gamer shit? Oh my god, I'm missing fucking, is it?
You come for me and mine. But first, you need to find us.
Oh, is this the fucking fight
All
one?
I want is to be with my little girl.
Oh
Is that
fuck,
so
okay.
much to ask?
God, I gotta pee. Fuck, hold on.
Hello, this is CERN from Passion Republic Games. We are a Malaysian-based indie game studio working on Gigabash, a multiplayer arena brawlers inspired by kaijus and heroes. Today, we'd like to showcase some new and exciting gameplay footage of our oversized characters in action. Please, enjoy the brawl.
What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Gigabash?
let's check out a trailer for Lemnis Gate and make sure you hang around afterwards for the developer interview with Sean.
Mankind is
facing total annihilation.
We stand on the verge of extinction.
Infertility spreading across the globe.
Humanity's last
Peggy
living
18.
generation. Friends and subjects, thank you all for coming.
Is this it?
We're gathered here to celebrate the unification of Boston and Hartford. One new domain, strong, safe, and united.
Bro, this dude sent me a fucking video from 2020, dog. Like, I was like, hey, do you have the Vampire Masquerade trailer? And he goes, oh yeah, let me send it to you from last year, motherfucker. Thanks, dude.
let's go. Shield. Protect and serve.
You have only one mission. Activate the Lemnis Gate.
What the fuck is the Lemnis Gate?
Joining us to talk about Lemnis Gate is the game director from Rat Loop Games Canada. It's James Anderson. Thanks for joining us, James.
Sean, it's great to be here.
Now, let's begin by asking...
Okay. One, it's top of the hour every hour. So I'm going to run a 6-second ad break here, okay? We're going to get to the murder stuff in a little bit. But I got to run that ad right now. You know what it is. You know what the deal is. You can subscribe to avoid those ads, okay? Here's the ad break now. And two, we're actually going to watch this now.
Here's to 8 months later.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where are you hiding, sweetie?
Subsequently were.
Halsey. Halsey, get out here. You come for me and mine. But first, you need to find us. All I want is to be with my little girl.
Is that so much to ask?
What is this? It's still in the Vampire Masquerade, or it's in the Vampire universe, but a different...
Love you, Hussein Hassel.
Okay. There was 1 second of gameplay. It looked interesting. This is a very weird trailer, dude.
Chess streams when? 5 head.
Waited 1 year for 1 second of gameplay. 3 Vampire Masquerade games are coming. One is Bloodlines 2, one is Swan Song, and the other one is Blood Hunt. Blood Hunt is like the shooter one, right? Dude, I love E3, man. Anne! Telefono çalıyor. Your chat looks scary. The pacing of this trailer is just off-putting. I don't know what happened there on that trailer. All right, let's watch the shit. Fuck is this?
In these troubled times of quarreling factions and outlaws roaming the land,
wait, this is
work is not scarce for a band.
This is Diablo, isn't it?
The stories of this age have been recorded. They are known as the War Tales.
I thought Diablo had literally a similar intro to its new game. Oh my god, this is Mountain Blade. Nope, never mind. Yeah, I really wanted my combat to be more turn-based when I'm doing like top-down these sorts of games. Hassan, you're tasting games is absolute garbage. Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
An open-world RPG from Shiro Games about leading a mercenary troop on a sprawling adventure. And speaking of mercenaries, our battle for the best custom PC based on MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries continues. We'll be back live on stage soon, so make sure you keep voting for the PC build you like the most and head over to PCGamer.com.
Did they show Fable? They didn't show Fable, right? No, I don't think Fable. Is there even a new Fable coming out?
How about another game announcement? This is E3 after all. And this year's PC gaming show is so full of games set in space, it's starting to feel a little crowded up there. But the next game we have to show you is very special. It is the world-exclusive reveal of Ixion, a deep settlement management game set in the stars. In Ixion, you struggle to maintain a space station, stockpiling resources, managing external and internal threats, and rescuing the survivors of other failed expeditions. We think this will be a brilliant entry into the genre when it releases. So here is your first look at Ixion.
The PC game shows usually shit, by the way. Yeah, it feels like it. But I don't know.
The Earth, our home. She is unique. Held in its bosom are the ingredients of evolution. Beyond raw survival, beyond the safety of comfort, we, humanity, pursue something greater. We have learnt, persevered, shaped our knowledge from that which is found in the furthest realms of science. However, humanity has brought destruction to the earth, polluted its blood, choked its breath. Today we are paying the price for this. We know the taste of a dying world. But the earth is not to be our grave. A mother does not wish to see her children disappear with her. She wishes to see instead courage in her children.
You guys are talking shit, but Christopher Nolan literally directed this trailer, and that's why you can't make out what he's saying because the music is so loud.
Moved faster than any corporation, hand in hand with those who, like us, carry that courage.
Oh my god, this is like Football Manager in space, dude. I'm not watching this. I'm finishing this fucking video and then I'm going into murder.
You know, there have been a lot of celebrities who have chimed in on the GameStop and AMC short squeezes. And one of them struck a chord with me, which was one of the Shark Tank guys, Kevin O'Leary. He said, if you're stupid enough to short a stock over 100%, then you deserve whatever happens to you. I am delighted to see them pay financially for playing dirty in the most important game in the universe, which is the game of American capitalism.
Your call.
He's right.
Fair enough.
I like this guy.
Keep changing it up.
I started immediately like identifying with it, and I haven't been able to properly articulate why yet, but initially in my gut, I heard the word deserved. I don't agree with that word. That's why I didn't come to the table.
I also tried to ask myself, did they deserve That's like saying, does any investor deserve the risk they're taking?
And I think a lot of people get behind
Involved.
the initial statement that was said was because this is very much turned into a David and Goliath narrative.
But that's the thing.
Wait.
It's a narrative.
Correct.
You know, we say like deserve, not deserve, but the question is what damage?
Wait, so that was my, like,
Right,
that was the
yeah.
word that I'm hung up on. Is like, what damage do we really think happened to hedge funds?
It's a symbolism as, look, you guys all had this cushy job. You had billions you were managing. Now you don't. Some of you are out.
Do you really think there was a lot of squirming? When you look at the people that were really
I love the word deserved.
invested in that company, do you think they really took the losses that you think they did? Or do you think they're riding that golden parachute laughing at the narrative that's going out?
There's other repercussions besides just the losses on AMC and GameStop, which would be an enormous amount of public pressure on the SEC to enforce the rules that they already have that have been poorly enforced. That is potentially a repercussion that will affect the day-to-day lives of hedge funds.
Now you're speaking my language, because when you talk about it like we've already won the war, that's when I'm like, first of all, I'm kind of on your side, and moreover, when we're like, oh, we made him square and we're winning here, I'm like, no, you haven't even started the game.
I think that there's about 10 million Redditors who are going to hang on to this forever. And a lot of us are motivated by the grudge we still feel from the lack of justice during the 08 fiasco, let's call it.
Yeah, like-
One guy went to jail after the collusion that led to the mortgage-backed security crisis. It's hard to pin the idea that people involved in the mortgage-backed security crisis were aware.
Dude, he's so right, dude. He's right.
That what they were doing at every point along the way was going to lead to a global financial crisis and deaths of poverty. But if you could prove that, I would say they would be guilty of mass murder.
I just don't think people care.
But essentially, how many people still care about that issue
Right.
today?
What Wall Street...
What? Dude, these guys suck, dude. How many people still care about that, dude? Come on. What? I don't know. I think a lot of people do, man. That's kind of fucked up. Come on, bro. It happened in like 2008. It's a long time ago, bro. Come on. It's been... What that Wall Street investor is doing is it happened a long time ago method, where you say something doesn't matter if it happened a long time ago.
Bets did, the exposures and the blind spots in our financial system in a whole. There are a few.
Of course.
What you have to do is, well, let's take a few. What we have to do is you have to understand what those are, and you have to...
Dude, imagine saying that to like a group of people who entered the workforce after it happened, either immediately after or a couple years after. Like, those guys are old enough to have suffered the consequences of like being a part of the workforce in the post 2008 like market crash. Even that alone is just so out of touch and so stupid. Come on, nobody cares, bro. What the fuck?
Mobilize, and you have to create a situation where there's actual change on the books. If you just hold GameStop, it's not going to change
Motherfucker
anything.
should have turned around and been like, you know, something happened on the 11th of September a long time ago. Do you not care about that? Like, what was that? I can't even remember. What was that? Just ask that question.
This was an illustration of some of the blind spots, and it has to mobilize into a more social event in terms of representatives and leaders that say, you know what, there are some things that the financial institutions have a blind spot on, and we have to do some reforms.
You definitely have the communication tool and the movement and passion to do so, but realistically, there's a staying power.
I guarantee you that I personally have the power to hold a grudge for the rest of my life.
I respect that. I feel that.
I'm right there with you.
I feel that.
And I believe there's about 10 million Redditors who equally are going to hold this grudge, maybe not forever,
I
but
think
for
you're
a
too
very
smart.
long
I think
time.
you're too smart and too engaged.
Well,
I think that's the issue with like this group of people.
You're gonna have to take that grudge and mobilize it into actual social change, and that comes from leadership,
Right.
and that comes from new elected officials. So you got.
He's right. That dude is right. That's correct.
You got to crosswalk
He's right.
that into actual stuff.
Shake, we did it.
He's fucking right. I wish they would though, but I don't think it's happening. And Wall Street Bets isn't about social change. I mean, it's not. It's not supposed to be. I don't really care that it isn't either. Like, But when I call it out, people get mad at me. Okay, let's just do it, dude. Most of the Wall Street Breads are ANCAP, so they're fucked. The Wall Street Girl has the Wall Street Breads Reddit. Dude, wanna fuck? What? Okay. People have been saying Michael Dunn, but we already watched Michael Dunn. So we could do another Michael Rafferty. Or Andy B. We did. Doesn't Copenhaver have like blood in it or something? I'm a little worried about that. There's Jussie Smollett. Going through the other Michael, please. I got like a 5-minute in and it made me too sad. What? Andy B has crime scene shooting, not safe for life. I kind of want to watch the Jussie Smollett one. BuzzFeed Unsolved? For the
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we discussed the bizarre collar bomb incident. Though some of the culprits in this one have seemingly been identified, the details in this one remain murky.
We sort of toil in murk, don't we?
I would say so. But like I said, we do know some of the main...
What the fuck is this? What is BuzzFeed Unsolved?
This week on the...
It's their only good show? Dude, goddamn. Oh my lord. Oh no. Oh my god, they have an entire fucking channel dedicated to like unsolved shit. 3 horrifying cases of ghosts and demons. The bizarre death of Elisa Lam. I know this one. That one's crazy. I don't think I've watched it on BuzzFeed, but that's a famous, Eliza Lam is a famous one.
1 year of totally rant content. Go Canada A.
Oh my fucking god, dude. Oh my god, boys. I think we're... Oh my god, I think we're fucking tapping into a new vein right now. Fuck. Rafferty's a pedo, Andy's a veteran, Copenhaver beat Christy Mack. All of them are interesting and sad. Look up Barely Sociable. Dude, I'm the true crime is like kind of reactionary, I feel like. You only have like 4 JCS vids left. Finish them. I can't believe you become one of those true crime moms. I mean, we watch reality TV on here all the time. So it's not surprising that we would like also get into true crime. We watch garbage TV regularly. It's made so much better.
Thank you for keeping me entertained during my
It's made so much better when you do it with chat, though.
With love from Montreal.
I can't watch this on my own. I've tried. It is natural for humans to gossip about abnormal delinquent behavior. We ask how a human being can be a piece of shit. Okay, here, we'll do the Prince Andrew one, dude. Here.
Just as the United Kingdom's unwritten constitution has evolved over the centuries, so has the role of the British monarchy. At present, different people are likely to see the purpose of the royal family in different ways. Many say its duty is to prevent the corruption of government and to...
Prince Andrew, as you all recall, here is a man who is unable to sweat.
4 months.
A man who is unable to sweat. Rest in peace to this one as well. He just recently died.
To remind elected politicians that a higher sovereign is always watching. Others say it simply makes financial sense, viewing its role as the British version of Disney World and asserting that it brings in more money than it costs the British taxpayer each year. Some, however, believe that it has no purpose, only the ridiculous notion of outdated traditions and class entitlement, and that the revenue from tourists is simply a myth, presenting the statistic that Chester Zoo has more visitors each year than Windsor Castle. But whatever your views on the royal family...
Damn, that's pretty base that he's just like shitting on that argument. Most people don't know that. Most people don't know that and literally think that that's like a legitimate argument. So it's very cool that he kind of shut it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
are as a whole, it's always a good idea not to generalize, as each individual has their own moral compass and personal character. An example of the more virtuous side of the spectrum could be the two central princes. Prince William does a considerable amount of work for charity, which includes helping impoverished children in underdeveloped countries, while Prince Harry volunteered to fight for his country and served 2 tours of duty on the front line in Afghanistan, not to mention the meaningful significance of his matrimony in 2018, demonstrating to the world how far humanity has come, as the first person of black descent was welcomed into the royal family. The progressive symbolism of the royal wedding was truly remarkable, especially when you consider that interracial marriage was illegal in the United States no longer than 52 years ago. Yet where there is prosperity and promise, corruption and controversy are never afar, and we need to look no further.
I don't know if welcomed is the word I would use about Meghan Markle and the royal family. Narrator's Kazuma on YouTube, he's a crusty hippie, but seems kind of based.
Than a single week to find a prime example. Many are already familiar with the current circumstances, but for those of you who aren't, here's a quick rundown. On the 8th of July 2019, 66-year-old hedge fund manager Jeffrey Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking and child sex abuse. The story exploded into the worldwide media, mainly due to his high-profile social circle, which included Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Queen Elizabeth's son, Prince Andrew. But one of the more bewildering facts of the whole situation, and something most were unaware of, is that Epstein had already been convicted as a sex offender for over 10 years.
Could you please give us your name?
Bewildering, boys. A shocking revelation. Just bewildering that, people knew that he was a sex trafficker, and yet they still kept up their appearances with them. I just, oh man. As though it's literally not the reason, most likely, that they kept up appearances with him.
Jeffrey Epstein. Is it true, sir, that you have what's been described as an egg-shaped penis? One witness described your penis as oval-shaped and claimed when erect it was thick towards the bottom but was thin and small towards the head portion.
Literally true.
And called it egg-shaped. Those are not my words, I apologize. But as Mr. Critton has stated, that this is a...
His original charges were 4 counts of unlawful sex with a minor and 1 count of sexual abuse, but his high-end attorneys managed to whittle it down to just 1 count of procuring a minor for prostitution, and he served just over 1 year in prison. While Trump and Clinton allegedly cut ties with Epstein after his arrest, Prince Andrew continued the relationship and visited Epstein multiple times at his properties both in the States and also on his private island in the Caribbean, where he allegedly partook in what the media dubbed orgy parties parties with underage girls who were solicited for sex. One of the alleged victims even went public, stating that she was trafficked and then forced to have sex with Prince Andrew on 3 separate occasions. A photograph of them together surfaced in the media, and many consider it to be substantial evidence to back up the allegations.
How do you guys not remember all this? I've covered this extensively.
On the 10th of August, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein died under extremely suspicious circumstances, with his death being officially ruled a suicide. This only added fuel to the fire, and the public scrutiny aimed at Prince Andrew intensified over the following months. Then, on the 16th of November, he made the extraordinary decision to address the allegations in a televised interview.
We've come to Buckingham Palace in highly unusual circumstances. Normally, we'd be discussing your work, your duty. We'll come on to that. But today, you've chosen to speak out.
This is one of the all-time worst interviews.
Why have you decided
/ greatest interviews,
now?
honestly.
Because there is no good time to talk about Mr. Epstein and all things associated.
All of this goes back to your friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. How did you first become friends? How did you meet?
Well, I met through his girlfriend back in 1999, who, and I'd known her since she was at university in the UK. And it would be, to some extent, a stretch to say that as it were, we were close friends. I mean, we were friends because of other people.
This is known as defensive communication. He is responding in a defensive manner due to his own self-perceived flaw. The term, a close friend, is both subjective and ambiguous. Essentially, anyone can label a friend as not being close if they choose to interpret it that way, especially if it facilitates self-preservation. What's more telling is the fact that he felt the need to say it. If he was certain of his own innocence and morality, then he would be more likely to express concern over his own judge of character, rather than attempting to downplay the relationship. It's also important to note his lack of conviction when making the statement.
And it would be, to some extent, a stretch to say that as it were, we were close friends. I mean, we were friends because of other people. And I had a lot of opportunity to go to the United States, but I didn't have much time with him. I suppose I saw him once or twice a year, perhaps maybe maximum of 3.
You should have been like, we have similar hobbies. Which is why we ran in the same circles. Similar hobbies.
3 times a year.
More defensive communication. He is now trying to downplay his frequency of visits by using the adverb only, as in, I only visited a convicted pedophile 3 times a year, so there's no way I can be guilty. The simple fact is that the frequency of visits are irrelevant. He could have visited once every decade and still committed an untold number of sex crimes against children.
And
oh my God,
quite
this
often,
video is so good.
If I was in the United States and doing things, and if he wasn't there, he would say, well, why don't you come and use my houses? So
Not a close friend, by the way. Not a close friend, by the way. Only visited his houses even when he wasn't around, by the way.
Said, that's very kind. Thank you very much indeed. But it would be a considerable stretch to say that he was a very, very close friend. But he had the most extraordinary ability to bring extraordinary people together. And that's the bit that I remember, is going to the dinner parties.
Instead of just saying, I remember going to the dinner parties, he was compelled to assert that it was all he remembered, essentially stating that anything else that may have occurred was inconsequential, and therefore couldn't have been nefarious.
Where you would meet academics, politicians, people from the United Nations. I mean, it was a cosmopolitan group of what I would describe as US eminence.
But was that his appeal then? Was that what you...
This was a highly expressive and forcible reaction to such a simple question. Imagine if you were in his position, but completely innocent, void of any wrongdoing whatsoever. This would seem like just a normal question, and you would most likely respond in a casual manner. But if you were guilty, your thought process would be constantly focused on the immediate threat of the present moment. And this question could appear more like an accusation, which could be argued was the reason for Andrew's agitated response.
Because you were perceived by the public as being the party prince.
This is a very intriguing moment of the interview. The claim of him being the so-called party prince isn't a damning assertion. Liking to go out and party doesn't make you a bad person, and the claim is completely insignificant compared to the more serious allegations against him. He goes on to claim that the statement is untrue, but closely observe his demeanor and contortions. He becomes far more expressive in this refuting statement compared to the refuting statements made earlier, and the probable reason for this will be revealed in a moment.
Was that something
Well,
you
I
shared?
think that's also a bit of a stretch. I don't know why I've collected that title, because I don't.
Hell yeah, brother.
I never have really partied.
The question was
literally absolutely the biggest lie.
Is non-incriminating, so it makes little sense as to why he would be so stuttery and spurious in his response. It could be argued that this was an attempt to portray his nonverbal cues while lying. He is essentially saying, look, this is how bad I am at lying, so any slightly less obvious tells at a later stage can be overlooked.
I was single for quite a long time, in the early 80s, but then after I got married I was very happy.
Shaking his head while making an assertive statement, the movement doesn't correlate with the message. Most body language experts would assert that he is lying here, although his heightened state of focus on the more damning elements may have influenced this.
And I've never really felt the need to go and party.
Am I right in thinking you threw a birthday party for Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, at Sandringham?
Also currently in custody, for the record, for her involvement in the sex trafficking. By the way.
No, it was a shooting weekend.
A shooting weekend?
Just a straightforward shooting weekend.
The expression on his face is as if he's been accused of something, but the interviewer had only asked if he had thrown a party. It's as if the word party has some damnatory connotations to it, hence the worried look, as well as his assertion that it was just a straightforward shooting weekend, whatever that is.
But during these times that he was a guest at Windsor Castle at Sandringham, the shooting weekend, we now know that he was and had been procuring young girls for sex trafficking.
We now know that. At the time, there was no indication to me or anybody else.
Really? I mean, he had been convicted of it, so.
That was what he was doing.
The next moment is fascinating. He breaks eye contact immediately after making his statement, arguably because it was a pure fabrication, and he wasn't comfortable with the reporter's gaze.
And certainly, when I saw him either in the United States...
He starts off a new sentence, giving a justification for the broken eye contact, yet appears to be trying to think up a related statement on the spot. People do this sometimes when they are uncomfortable. They abruptly say the first clause of a sentence as a means to escape an uncomfortable silence, but they then have to think up the next clause directly on the spot. In the next moments, Andrew realizes that the initial clause he thought up fits in perfectly with his next assertion.
Well, no, when I saw him in the United States, or when I was staying in his houses in the United States, there was no indication, absolutely no indication.
Let's watch that again.
And certainly, when I saw him either in the United States, well, no, when I saw him in the United States, or when I was staying in his houses in the United States, there was no indication.
He was convicted of soliciting and procuring a minor for prostitution. He was jailed. This was your friend. How did you feel about it?
Well, I ceased contact with him after I was aware that he was under investigation, and that was later on in 2006. And I wasn't in touch with him again until 2010. So I just...
Oh, so when you get back to being friends with the dude, this is what is known as the enough time has passed for people to care technique. When you're homies with someone and literally while you're hanging out with them, they're soliciting like underage, they're fucking underage girls they picked up from the high school down the street. What you're supposed to do is
Hassan.
Thank you. What you're supposed to do is, you know, rekindle that relationship a couple of years later when people forget.
It was one of those things that if somebody's going through that sort of thing, well, I'm terribly sorry, I can't be.
So no contact?
No contact.
When he was serving time, there was no call, no letter, nothing there?
No.
He was released in July. Within months, by December of 2010, you went to stay with him at his New York mansion. Why? Why were you staying with a convicted sex offender?
Right. I have always, ever since this has happened, and since this has become, as it were, public knowledge that I was there, I've questioned myself as to why did I go, what was I doing.
Literally the worst interview of all time. Since it was made public. Like, not before, not during. But when you found out, I was like, fuck, why did I do that? That's so dumb. I think we all know why, baby.
And was it the right thing to do?
He has just confirmed that he only started questioning his actions to visit a sex offender since it became public knowledge, essentially stating that he's only worried about what others think of his actions, rather than what he thinks of his actions.
Now, I went there with the sole purpose of saying to him that because he had been convicted, it was inappropriate for us to be seen together. And I had a number of people counsel me in both directions, either to go and see him or not to go and see him. And I took the judgment call that because this was serious and...
What phone call? Bro, you don't deserve a phone call, bro. Like, there is no phone call. If someone you know is convicted of being a pedophile and, like, doing sex crimes, you don't give them a fucking phone call.
I felt that doing it over the telephone...
Cut that motherfucker off.
...was the chicken's way of doing it. I had to go and see him and talk to him.
Much like a breakup after a long-term relationship, telling someone the news face-to-face is a sign of respect. He has essentially just stated that he still held a sex offender in high regard.
And I went to see him, and I was doing a number of other things in New York at the time, and we had an opportunity to go for a walk in the park, and that was the conversation, coincidentally, that was photographed, which was when I said to him, I said, look, because of what has happened, I don't think it is appropriate that we should remain in contact. And by mutual agreement during that walk in the park, we decided that we would part company, and I left, I think it was the next day. And to this day, I never had any contact with him from that day forward.
He didn't leave the next day. He stayed at Epstein's residence for 4 days after. It must have been pretty awkward staying at someone's house for 4 nights after telling them you want nothing to do with them anymore.
What did he say when you told him that you were breaking up the friendship?
He was what I would describe as understanding. He didn't go into any great depth in the conversation about what I was doing, or what he was doing, except to say that he'd accepted whatever it was, a plea bargain. He'd served his time, and he was carrying on with his life. You see what I mean? And I said yes, but I'm afraid to say that's as may be. But with all the attendant scrutiny on me, then I don't think it is a wise thing to do.
This is also fascinating because the only person who can refute his statements is now dead, and in Andrew's mind, he has free rein to come up with any justification he pleases, but he's about to be caught out.
That was December of 2010.
Yep.
He threw a party to celebrate his release, and you were invited as the guest of honor.
Oh, in 2010? That certainly wasn't a party to celebrate his release in December, because it was a small dinner party. There were only 8 or 10 of us, I think, at the dinner.
He once again seems to be very anxious and panicked by the word party, and according to Andrew, having up to 10 people over doesn't classify it as such, making it the more acceptable dinner with a convicted sex offender, rather than the deplorable dinner party with a convicted sex offender.
If there was a party, then I'd know nothing about that.
You were invited to that dinner as a guest of honour?
Well, I was there, so there was a dinner. I don't think it was quite as you might put it, but yeah, okay, I was there at a dinner, yeah.
I'm just trying to work this out, because you said you went to break up the relationship, and yet you stayed at that New York mansion several days. I'm wondering how long.
But I was doing a number of other things while I was there.
But you were staying at the house of a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
Jeff.
He's a royal, dude. Like, you could literally stay anywhere, motherfucker. You could stay at any hotel. You're a royal. You can stay at the penthouse. You can stay at Trump Tower. He's making it seem like he was slumming it with, you know, Jeffy Epp. There must have been another reason why you wanted to stay with Jeffy Epp. You know, old Jebediah Jeffrey Jebediah Epstein. Motherfucker be like, oh, I had no other place to go, dude.
Jeffrey Epstein's residence was in central Manhattan. There were over 50 luxury hotels within a 1-mile radius, and it's not as if Andrew was strapped for cash.
I've gone through this in my mind so many times. At the end of the day, with the benefit of all the hindsight that one can have, it was definitely the wrong thing to do. But at the time, I felt it was the honourable and right thing to do.
Even if his story was genuine, he has once again confirmed that he still held a convicted child rapist in high regard, someone clearly too respectful and dignified to just be cut off without a formal 4-day meeting at his mansion.
And I admit fully that my judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable, but that's just the way it is.
I'm too honorable. Dude, we haven't even gotten to the best parts yet. This entire video is so good. He's too honorable. That's why he had to hang out with the fucking pedophile sex criminal for 4 days. It's honor that motivated him to do such a thing. Make no mistake, sir. It was the honor.
Ah yes, the struggles of being too honorable. If only it weren't for his abundance of honor, God forbid he could have done something like donate to a child sex abuse charity, or bring public awareness to a similar cause. But no, he was far too honorable, so he made the honorable choice to take a secret 4-day vacation in a pedophile's mansion.
Because during that time, those few days, witnesses say they saw many young girls coming and going at the time. There is video footage of Epstein accompanied by young girls. And you were there staying in his house, catching up with friends.
I mean, if they were, then I wasn't a party to any of that. I never saw them. I mean, you have to understand that his house, I described it more as almost as a railway station, if you know what I mean, in the sense that there were people coming in and out of that house all the time. What they were doing and why they were there, I had nothing to do with. So I'm afraid I can't make any comment on that because I really don't know.
Another guest was John Brockman, the literary agent.
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
Now, he described seeing you there getting a foot massage from a young Russian woman. Did that happen?
Arjan,
No.
have you had letter B in square?
You're absolutely sure, or you can't remember?
Absolutely sure.
So John Brockman's statement is false?
Well, I don't know Mr. Brockman, so I don't know what he's talking about.
But that definitely wasn't you getting a foot massage from a Russian girl in Jeffrey Epstein's house?
No.
It might seem a funny way to break off a friendship, a 4-day house party of sorts with a dinner. It's an odd way to break up a friendship.
It's a difficult way of putting it. That's a very stark way of putting it. Yes, you're absolutely right. But actually, the truth of it is that I actually only saw him for about the dinner party, the walk in the park, and probably passing in the passage.
You would be hard-pressed to find a more guilty-looking face in the history of investigative journalism. If this was a soap opera, the director would probably tell the actor to tone it down a little bit, to at least give the viewer a shred of doubt that he's not completely full of shit.
So let's go to that Central Park walk, which was snapped. Friends of yours suggest that Epstein wanted that photo taken. Perhaps he'd even set it up.
Notice the oncoming sigh of relief as the subject matter switches from the suspicion directed at him to the suspicion directed at Epstein. He seems to relax as he can finally be genuine and speak the truth for a moment, and notice the complete switch in his demeanor and body motions.
Do you worry that you were being played?
Oh my God. I remember watching this. I did not catch that. Motherfucker's side. That's great.
Be genuine and speak the truth for a moment.
I gotta watch it again.
Notice the complete switch in his demeanor and body motions.
Do you worry that you were being...
That's crazy, dude.
...played?
Again, new information's coming out since his suicide has made us reappraise that walk in the park.
He rambles on for as long as possible to keep the subject matter pointing away from himself, but the journalist doesn't take long to put him back on the spot.
July of this year, Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking and abusing dozens of underage girls. One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend. Your response?
Best part's coming.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No.
Do you remember dancing at Tramp?
No. That couldn't have happened because the date that is being suggested, I was at home with the children.
You know that you were at home with the children. Was it a memorable night?
This was a brilliant question from the journalist, and similar to what a criminal investigator would ask during a police interrogation, although it would be posed in one word: why? By asking the question in this manner, she has given Andrew the awareness that the night had to be memorable in order to be remembered. It seems obvious once stated, but this can be easily overlooked in a pressurized situation, and she has now virtually instructed him in how to respond correctly.
On that particular day that we now understand is the date, which is the 10th of March, I was at home. I was with the children. I'd taken Beatrice to...
Why would you remember that? Seems like you looked into it. Why would you remember any random fucking night? Unless you literally were like, oh, do I have an alibi? Why isn't he in jail? Because he's a fucking royal, dude. Are you crazy? Diplomatic immunity to the fucking maximum degree.
Pizza Express in Woking for a party at I suppose sort of 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
Why would you remember that so specifically? Why would you remember a Pizza Express birthday and being at home?
Because going to Pizza Express in Woking is an unusual thing for me to do. A very unusual thing for me to do. I've only been to Woking a couple of times, and I remember it weirdly distinctly. As soon as somebody reminded me of it, I went, oh yes, I remember that.
This has neither been refuted nor confirmed, but nevertheless, a child's birthday party at a pizza restaurant doesn't last throughout the night. So he could have had sex with a victim after it occurred. Or, this could have simply been an occasion that happened close enough to the date in question, which is the reason he is now using it as an alibi.
Is it possible that you met Virginia Roberts,
Love from
dined
Iowa.
with her, danced with her in Tramp, had sex with her on another date?
No.
Is there any way you could have had sex with that young woman or any young woman trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein in any of his residences?
No. And without putting too fine a point on it, if you're a man, it is a positive act to have sex
Let's
with somebody.
fucking go.
You have to take some sort of positive action. And so therefore, if you try...
This is the guiltiest man in all kingdoms, okay? Across the board, across history.